welcome to the students at the Jamaica School of Preaching and to you who are joining us at jspmona.org on YouTube. It is a pleasure for you to be a part of the class, Introduction to Biblical Hebrew. Today we're going to be finishing up the definite article quickly and then reviewing for next week's test. Now, I don't want you to be alarmed. I'm going to tell you exactly what to prepare for the test, and also that will also free you that you only have to study one lesson for the exam. Okay, and for the exam, I will also tell you exactly what to focus on in your preparation. So don't be alarmed or worried. We're going to begin the class now by going to God in prayer. Father in heaven, I give you thanks for life, for breath, for health, for food, for drink, for clothes, for shelter, for the opportunity to teach in this institution, and for us to learn in this institution, for we are all learners. We pray that you will open our understanding, that we may be able to grasp new ideas that we are learning, that we may use the knowledge of this language to interpret accurately the Holy Scriptures. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. Is there anyone who has not signed the register? All right. I'm going right to the place in which we're going to be learning new vocabulary quickly. Some of this is not new. You've seen it before. But this vocabulary is needed for the exercise that I'm going to be going through with you. There's nothing for you to write, and it's not a quiz. It's something to help you understand the definite article better. Now, at the very beginning, bara, it means he created. The next word is amar, which means he said. The third word is ba, which means he came. The next word is el, which is a preposition meaning to or unto. The next word is the preposition min, which means from, then where or there, which is a conjunction meaning and the last word on this screen is ear, which means city. All right. Then the second screen, the word is Elohim, which is the most common Hebrew word for God in the Hebrew Old Testament. The next word is afar, which means dust. Well, ba, I already had that on the previous screen. It means he came. Then this word koshek means darkness. I want you to notice, does anybody know where the long stick is? That koshek, notice where the dot is. The dot, which is normally over, okay, thank you, that's good. The dot, which really would be over the shin, has come together with the vowel called kolem to be one dot. So this one dot serves as the dot for shin, and the long vowel kolem. They have come together into this one dot. Koshek, it means darkness. The kolem, which is a dot, unites with the dot over shin to form one dot. Rosh, which we looked at earlier on in the article, in the lesson on the definite article, is head.
So the dot that That we see about the Aleph is the same with O. Yes.
All right. The difference here is that Aleph does not take any dot, but Shin does take a dot over on the right side of the letter. But this is a colon, just like you have it up here. This is a colon that is joined together with the dot over Shin. In the case of Aleph, it has no dot of its own, but it's still over Aleph. So you have Resh, you have the colon, which is an O sound. There is no sound for the Aleph, and you have the Shin at the end, the SH. So you have R, O, the Aleph symbol here, SH, Rosh, meaning head. Heikal means temple or palace. Melech, it can also be spelled with C rather than K, but I put the K here. Melech is king. This is Yom, meaning day. Yes. You have La, Ye, La. 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 Meaning night. This is Or, meaning light. This is Atham or Adam. In modern Hebrew, they don't say TH for this, but they say the D. But in biblical Hebrew, it is Atham. But I'll just put it down like this, since you more recognize Adam than Atham. Adam, man. Adama or Athama. Notice how similar it is to Adam. Athama is earth or land or ground. Atham or Adam was taken from Adama. Man was made from the earth or the ground.
That's why the first human being was called Adam.
That's right. Because he was made from the dust of Adam. Yes. Now, before we get into the exercise, this is an important note. I haven't really dealt with this in detail before, but now is the time to deal with it. The man said is expressed in the Hebrew word order as he said, and then in brackets you put namely the man. That's not how you would translate it, but that's the word order in the Hebrew. So this is the word order. The verb comes first. This is the verb amar, which means he said. And this is the definite article, the, and this is the noun, Adam, man. Okay, so you have the verb coming before the noun or before the subject. Amar ha Adam, which is, he said, namely the man. Or in the word order in which we speak in English, the man said. God created is expressed in the Hebrew word order as he created, namely God. So you have the verb coming first, bara, followed by Elohim. He created, namely God, or simply God created. Now, the verb generally goes before its subject. The verb generally goes before its subject. The verb generally goes before its subject. So this is the normal word order.
That is different from the English or another language. Because the subject always comes before the verb.
That's correct.
And then sometimes I realize that in Hebrew, in Greek, but the fact that there's some specific rules to interpret the Hebrew or the Greek. sometimes you see the interpreter, they make one interpretation of the Bible.
Yes.
If you look at in that case, the verb comes before the subject.
Yes.
You have to know how to translate it and put out the true meaning of that sentence.
Because you certainly don't want to say he created God.
Yes.
That would be disrespectful to the Creator.
Yes.
So you have to know what order to put it in the translation.
Yes.
Whether it's French or English or Spanish, you must know the right order in which to put it, otherwise it will give the wrong meaning. Yes. Okay, so if you see it like this, it would be God created. See it like this, it would be the man said. But in English, this is really literally what you have. You have he said, namely the man. Or he created, namely God. Namely is saying this is the one who is doing the action. Namely saying that this is doing the action. It is the man who is speaking. It is the God who is creating. But there are times when in the Hebrew you will have the noun before the verb. Whenever that happens, you know that the writer, the inspired writer, is doing that intentionally in order to emphasize the pronoun. In other words, when special emphasis is laid on the subject, it comes first. For example, Ha, Adam, Amar. Ha, Adam, Amar means the man said. I've underlined man in order to bring out the point that the stress or emphasis of the person who writes this is on the man himself. Okay, so when the word order is not followed, it is done purposely so that the subject or the noun is emphasized or stressed. So this is the normal word order. The verb generally goes before the subject. But when the writer wants to emphasize the subject, he puts the subject first and the verb second. All right, now we come to the exercise. Don't be perplexed or frightened. Don't get a blank. You're not going to write anything or even say anything necessarily. I'm just going to take some of this to try to nail the lesson I was sharing yesterday. So, Melech. Melech is king. Stands by itself. It could be translated either as king or as what? What is another way of translating Melech? It can be translated as king, and it can also be translated as what? An indefinite article can be placed before Melech because it is not specific. It doesn't have the definite article to make the king specific. So it's dealing with king or a king. Not the king, but a king. So it could be translated as a king.
How come you cannot be king?
Repeat, please.
How cannot be king?
How is it that
you cannot be king or you cannot be king? It's an a king, but you cannot be king. According to the definite article.
Okay, there is no indefinite article in the Hebrew. There is no word in the Hebrew that may be translated as a or a. There is only the definite article. But it should be no problem, because once it is not definite, then it must be what? Indefinite. If there is no definite article before the noun, then that is a sign that the noun is, or the subject is, indefinite. And therefore, to make the translation clear, you can put a in front of the noun. But you can do it either way. Either put the noun by itself or put the indefinite article in English before the noun. King or a king. Was that what you were asking?
Yes.
All right. Now, when you see the definite article, did you say something else?
No.
When you put the definite article ha before the noun melech, notice that ha is followed by mem, and mem has what in the center or middle of it? It has a dot. And it is called a dagesh forte. It is a sign that something has dropped out of the definite article. It is the lamed. The L has dropped out, and to compensate for the loss of the L, the M in mem is doubled or repeated. So you have ham melech, which is the king. Now we come to number 2. This is yom, which means day. It may also be translated as what? A day, since there is no definite article before day. And if it is not definite, it is indefinite. So it could be either day or a day. Now when you put the definite article ha, notice what happens. The dagesh forte goes in yod, and yod becomes doubled or repeated. So you have high yod, which means the day. Okay, now number 3, layla means night, or it could be translated as what? Layla could be translated as a night. Since it is not definite, there is no definite article before it, it could be translated as a night. However, when you put the definite article before layla, look what happens. Ha is followed by lamed, and lamed has the dagesh forte in it to compensate for the loss of the lamed that belongs to ha. The lamed has dropped out, and dagesh forte is put there to repeat this letter that is at the beginning of the noun layla. It doubles it, so it is repeated. So you have hal layla, the night. Hal layla, the night. Number 4, or, you don't pronounce the aleph, but the next one is a colon, which is O, and this is the consonant resh or resh, so you have it as or. Or means light, and since it doesn't have the definite article, it is indefinite, so you could say a light. Now, when you put the definite article before the or, there is a rule that says that since a guttural letter cannot be doubled with dagesh forte, then the vowel has to be lengthened from patak to kames a. So you have ha instead of ha. You have ha instead of ha. Ha-or, which is the light. Ha-or is the light. Here is another noun. This is ear, which means city. And because it doesn't have a definite article, city is what? Is it definite or indefinite? It is indefinite. How do we know it's indefinite? It doesn't have the definite article before it. So it is a city.
Yes.
It could be Port-au-Prince. It could be Kingston. It could be Havana. It's a city. It's not definite. It's not specific. Here, city or a city. Now, remember that when the definite article comes before a word that starts with ayin, which is another guttural letter, the patak lengthens to a kamis a because the ayin cannot take a dagesh forte in it. And so the patak becomes a kamis a. So you have ha here, ha here, ha here, meaning the city. A particular city, a specific city, a definite city.
In that case, we have two yod. Yes.
In this case, what we have is that because it cannot take in the ayin and dagesh forte, it is dealt with here by the lengthening of patak to kamis a. So what you have here is not any doubling of ayin or any of these letters. They remain as they are. The only change that takes place is that the kamis, the patak, is lengthened to a kamis a. So you have ha here, but there is no doubling of the letter because a guttural letter cannot be doubled. It cannot take a dagesh forte. So it's ha here, the city.
So we did it again.
Yes. Ayin is a guttural letter. A guttural letter cannot be doubled. It cannot be repeated. So no dagesh forte can go in the middle of a guttural letter. But what change that takes place is in the vowel underneath he of the definite article. Normally you would have a patak, a short a, but because of the guttural letter and it cannot be doubled, the patak has to be lengthened to its corresponding long vowel, kamis a, which is a long a sound. So you have ha ear, ha ear, ha ear. Now you don't pronounce the ayin, just like the aleph, you don't pronounce it. So what I'm pronouncing is the long yurik, which is the yod and this dot here under the ayin. That's a long e sound, r sound, pronounced like e. And this is the r sound, at the end, ear. The ayin is not being pronounced at all. Then the next word is rosh, meaning head. It's not definite, so it can be translated as a head. But when it's made definite, you know it's one particular head that the writer is dealing with or writing about. Ha rosh. So when the definite article goes before a word that starts with resh, again the patak is lengthened to a kamis because the resh cannot be doubled with the dagesh forte. So you have ha rosh, meaning the head. Okay, let me see if there are some other forms here. Yeah, let me go here. Now, there is a rule in the article, definite article, that says that when the definite article goes before an unaccented syllable in a word, and this syllable is unaccented because normally when you don't see any accent mark, the accent is to be placed on the final syllable of the word. So the accent is over here, not over on the first syllable. When the definite article goes before a syllable that does not have an accent, then there must not be any patak, nor must there be any kamas a, but there must be a segol or a short e sound. And this must be followed by a mappiq, which is a bridle, meaning pause. So you say he afar, meaning the dust. He afar. So when the definite article goes before a word that starts with an unaccented guttural letter, ayin, it should be a he followed by the segol, the short vowel e. Let me look for another thing that is similar to that. Let me check the next one. Okay, let me translate this sentence here. Ba is a verb that means he came, and normally the verb comes before the noun or the subject. So you have ba, and this is the subject of the sentence. It has the definite article ha, the patak, the short ha sound, melek. So ba means he came, ha melek is the king, min means from, ha hekal means the palace. Now notice when the definite article comes before a he or before a keth, this is called strong gutturals. He and keth are called strong gutturals. Now because they are strong, the grammar says that it does not need any doubling, nor is there a need for the vowel under he to be lengthened to kamas a. It can remain as patak because this is strong and does not need any adjustment to the vowel under the definite article. He. Alright, so you have ha, he, ka. Now let us see if we can translate this. We have ba, hamelek, min, ha, he, ka. This is in the word order. He came, namely the king, from the palace. But to put it into standard English word order, we would say in translation, the king came from the palace. The king came from the palace. Let's do another translation here. You have Amar, which is he said. Elohim means God. El is a preposition meaning unto. This is a Mappiq, which joins the preposition el to ha, Adam, meaning the man. So this is unto the man. So to put it in standard word order, God said unto the man. God said unto the man. Okay, let me do one more. Bara means he created. Elohim means God. Or means light. Min means from. Ha, Hoshek means the darkness. So God created light from the darkness. God created light from the darkness. Okay. So that was only for practice. All right. Now, we are going to leave this section and quickly review. All right, and getting the other one up here, Mappiq. Mappiq. All right, so let's look at Mappiq. Mappiq. Now, here's what you need to know about Mappiq. Okay. Shema. Shema is a Hebrew word that means hear. All right. Okay. Now listen carefully, because I'm now telling you what you need to know specifically for the test next week. You need to know the definition of Mappiq. Mappiq means bringing out. This is a Hebrew word. This is how it's spelled in Hebrew. Mappiq. It means in English, bringing out. So you definitely need to know what Mappiq means. What does it mean? Bringing out. Know that. That's in lesson 13, right after test number 1 in your PowerPoint lesson. Also, you need to be able to give any one way. There are different ways, but be able to give any one way that Mappiq is different from either Dagesh Lene, that is weak Dagesh, or Dagesh Forte, strong Dagesh. Now look at this. One of the ways in which Mappiq is different from either Dagesh Lene or Dagesh Forte is that it is only put in A. It is not put in any other consonant. What do you know about Dagesh Lene? Can Dagesh Lene go in A? Dagesh Lene can only go in 6 letters. Let me see if I have the 6 letters here. No, I don't have them there, so let me go back to this. It is Het, Gimel, Dalet, Kaf, Fe, and Tau. Okay, those are the only 6 letters that the Dagesh Lene can go in, but you don't even have to remember that. Just remember this one thing, that Dagesh Lene will never ever go into this letter here. That's the only thing you need to remember for this test. Dagesh Lene and also Dagesh Forte, neither of them will ever go into a guttural letter. Remember that. None of them is going to go into He. Yet Mappiq can only go in He. Mappiq looks like Dagesh Lene and Dagesh Forte, but it is different in that neither Dagesh Lene nor Dagesh Forte can go into this letter. Another difference, but you only need to know one difference in it, but I'm showing you more than one. You may not want that one, but you can go to this one. It is different from Dagesh Lene. Dagesh Lene is put only in Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Kaf, Pe, Tau. But Dagesh Lene cannot be put in A. Only Mappiq. So this is what I've said already. It only goes into these letters, but Dagesh Lene never goes into this. Or if you want another, it is different from Dagesh Forte. Dagesh Forte can be put in all consonants except the guttural letters and resh. Aleph, Ain, Kef, Ayin, and Resh. The Dagesh Forte cannot go into any of these. Therefore, You won't find dagesh forte in hey. Dagesh forte therefore cannot be put in hey. Only Mappiq can be put in hey. Another thing too, Mappiq is a dot found in the last letter of a word. If that last letter is hey, for example, Susa, her horse, Devarah, her word, Nebiah, her prophet. So you won't find dagesh lene or dagesh forte here either. Okay, so you need to know one way that Mappiq is different from either dagesh lene or dagesh forte. I would say the simplest way to answer that is to say that neither dagesh lene nor dagesh forte can go in A. That's the simplest, straightforward answer. Yes, and you would get full marks for that. Now we go on to another lesson in review. So let me escape from this one and find another. We're looking at Raphe, Quiescent letters, and the Gutturals. Now, you need to know the definition of Raphe. You need to know the definition of Raphe. Now you may say, how can I remember all of this? I have put the same information on the very last slide, lesson 15, which I sent to you last night. Lesson 15, it is on the very last slide of that lesson. It has all of the things you need to know specifically. So you just focus on those things. So in this lesson, lesson 14, you need to know the definition of Raphe. Well, you could either say Raphe means soft, because that is really what the Hebrew word means in English. It means soft.
That was tender, sir.
Huh?
That was tender.
Tender?
Yes. What do you mean, soft?
Okay, tender and soft mean the same thing. Yeah. The definition of Raphe can also be taken from this sentence. Raphe is that, the definition of Raphe is that it is a short, horizontal line. A short, horizontal line. Here it is. It is a short, horizontal line placed over a letter. Here is the letter. To indicate that the doubling of that letter with dagesh forte is left out. So instead of having two kophs or two q's, there is one koph or one q. And it is indicated by the horizontal line over the letter. And so there is no dagesh forte where you would expect a dagesh forte to be. Okay, so that is the meaning of Raphe, either soft or it is a short horizontal line placed over a letter to indicate that the doubling of that letter or is with dagesh forte is left out. You need to know the definition of Raphe. Moving on from Raphe, you need to be able to write at least one of these quiescent letters. We're dealing with quiescent letters, and the quiescent letters are Aleph, A, Waw, Yod. You don't need to know all of them, just need to remember one of them, and you'll get full marks. Be able to write one of the quiescent letters. You may ask, what is that kind of letter? It is a letter that under certain conditions become quiet, so that even the vowel underneath it is removed and not pronounced. Okay, so these are the quiescent letters. Okay. Be able to write what happens to Segol. What happens to Segol, that is to E in Elohim, when the preposition lay is placed before Elohim. So you need to know this part. For example, when a preposition such as lay means to, is put before Elohim, which means God, the E under the Aleph in Elohim becomes silent and drops out, and the E, the simple Shiwa under the Lamed, becomes long E, that is Serek, producing Lelohim, meaning to God. All right, so be able to write what happens. Let me see if there's an illustration on the next page. This might help you better. This is what I'm saying. Be able to write what happens to Segol. This is Segol right here in Kateb Segol, Horrid Segol, under the Aleph, which is a quiescent letter. Be able to write what happens to Segol in Elohim when the preposition le is placed before Elohim. Okay, this is what happens. The Segol comes over here, and then this is lengthened from the E to the A, and the Katef Segol that was under Aleph completely drops out. So there is no pronunciation of the vowel underneath Aleph. So what you end up having is lay, and you bypass this, you don't pronounce it, you go straight to Lamed over here. You have lay, lo, he, meaning to God. Lay, lo, he. Notice that Aleph is always silent or quiet. What changes is that Kateb Segol, Horrid Segol, is dropped. It's dropped and not spoken. And the Segol under Lamed is lengthened to Sire, that is the long E sound A, Lelohim. So be able to write what happens to Segol in Elohim when the preposition le is placed before Elohim. Okay, be able to know that. Also, going on to another section, where are the guttural letters? You need to know at least any one of the guttural letters. You need to know at least one. If you write the one, you'll get full marks for that. You also need to say any one fact that you know about these letters. For example, Aleph, He, Kef, Ayin are guttural letters, that is, letters pronounced in the throat. And what is said about these guttural letters also applies to Resh. That's one fact you know about them. Another fact you know about them is that they cannot be doubled. They cannot be repeated. So they don't take Dagesh Forte. That alone would answer the question. Or you could say they take composite Shawah instead of simple vocal Shawah. Or you could say they prefer the vowel Fatah under them and even before them. Any one fact about the guttural letters will give you full marks. Okay, I think it is time to go to the next lesson. And so let me escape from this one. Let me check the time. All right, this is going to be quick. Let me get the next one. Where are you?
All of those you can make up on next week, so all 45 exams.
Yes, yes. No, coming. Let me get out of here. and go to the accents. Accents were not there. They're here. Okay, let me get to the accents. All right, here are the accents. All right. Now you need to know, I'll prepare you for your exam next week, but just bear with me on this. You need to be able to list 3 functions of accents. Now, one of the functions of accents, you don't have to go into the detail, just this. One of the functions in the accents is to indicate the syllable to be stressed in pronunciation. That's all you need to write on that one. Then the next function is on the other screen. It is used as punctuation marks. You can simply say that, used as punctuation marks. And the third use is that they are used as musical notes or musical signs for chanting the scriptures. So they are used to show what syllable is to be stressed. They're used as punctuation marks, and they're used as musical notes or symbols. That's all you need to answer for that. Give any one rule, this is the last one now. Give any one rule of what happens to the vowel under A in the definite article. Now notice, any one rule would suffice. I would advise you to get the simplest rule. And the simplest rule is the definite article before an ordinary letter is ha, followed by dagesh forte. You can go ahead and study this in A. A has the simplest rule. The definite article before an ordinary letter is ha, followed by dagesh forte. Now, one more thing. You're going to get 9 questions total on the test, but you're only required to answer 4. So you need to look for the 4 that you can answer the best. What I have given you is what will make you get an A+ on the test. Okay, so if you concentrate on what I've given you, you must be able to find 4 questions that you can answer the best. But just follow. Let me show you where it is. This is the last lesson I sent to you yesterday evening. Let me show you where it is. On the very last slide, this is it. This is what you need to know. Prepare for test number 2 on lessons 13, 14, and 15. And this is what you need to know. Everything I told you a while ago is right here on the last screen. This is what you need to know. Yes.
Why is this ugly unfair? Why not right?
No, it's because I'm running out of time.
Oh, but you
running out of time. Thursday the test, and Friday I introduce a new lesson, and at the same time I review it for your exam, because the exam will only be over 1 lesson. Rather than it being over 3 lessons, it will be over 1 lesson. Yeah.
So why are we getting like a new lesson on Friday when income is the following week?
All right, let me tell you what happened. We would have been in a more advanced position, but I saw it necessary to revise lessons 1 to 9, so that those of you that are coming in and didn't come to the classes last term would not be at such a disadvantage. And actually I had more lessons to teach, but because of the holidays, it set me back. But the good thing about this is you won't have to study much, because the exam is just going to be over 1 lesson. 1 lesson, And I will do the same for that one lesson that I've done for the 3 lessons. I will show you what exactly to prepare for. It will be to your advantage. Okay? It is not the ideal situation. It really shouldn't be done like this. But I think it is the best I can do. This is all on your PowerPoint. I sent it to you yesterday. It's on the last screen. And this second part is what I went through with you. On this paper, it's coming from this. So if you know this, you will be very well prepared for your test. Okay. Thank you, viewers, for joining us in Introduction to Biblical Hebrew. Our next class is Introduction to Biblical Hermeneutics. God willing, we will start at around 1:30 p.m. Jamaica time, Eastern Standard Time. Now we are signing off. You're free to go for lunch.